Americano. We finally saw it. Brave New World. And it's your boy Icon with a Marvel movie review for you. Finally going over that Captain America. And before we get started, hit that notification bell, like it or subscribe. Happy Easter, happy WrestleMania weekend to everybody. Check out my other reviews. Let's boost those watch time hours. And let's finally talk about some Cap. No Cap. So, right out the gate, I'm going to say I did enjoy the movie. Like, I thought the movie was very good, and it wasn't what I thought it was. Like, based on the trailers and everything that we saw, I thought it was going to be like this huge political thing where they were just talking about, like the black man being Captain America, like all this crazy stuff. But it actually wasn't that. Like, it was very, it was a movie. It was an action movie. It was a regular action movie that didn't have all the political mumbo jumbo that I thought it would have. And I definitely enjoyed it. So I did not know that the original actor that played General Ross passed away. And when I saw Harrison Ford up there and they kept calling him Ross, I was like, is this like his older brother or something? And then they kept making like the mustache references. And then after a while, like I figured it out that wasn't actually him. I didn't know he passed away. Like, God bless his soul. He's been with the MCU since the beginning, and he's been General Ross for so long. It's unfortunate that he never actually got a chance to see his General Ross arc come full circle with him finally becoming like the Red Hulk. And I don't like the fact that they spoil that in the trailers because something should be kept secret. But anyway, so now I said, let's talk about the movie because now Harrison Ford, he's General Ross, and he just became the president of these United States of America. So Ross calls Cap into the fold because he was just like, I know I locked you and the other Avengers up in the raft, and I know like we've had our odds and everything, but he basically tells him straight up, he said, look, I want you to put the Avengers back together. And then he said, well, because of the Sokovia Accords, you dismantled the Avengers. He was like, yeah, but I'm president now, and I need you motherfuckers to save my ass. Like, whatever it need be. So he invites them down to the White House, and then he's just like, think about my offer. He goes and talks to Joaquin, and it's nice to see him back. We all knew he was going to be the new Falcon, and there was a scene, an action sequence where he was in the Falcon costume. Sam was in the Captain America costume. Sam was wearing the white Captain America costume that he got from the Wakandans, and then later he changed to a blue outfit that looked more like the Captain America outfit. Joaquin's outfit was green. I didn't like that. So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I thought maybe his suit could have been like yellow and orange or something, or maybe like red and yellows. I don't know. Like, I ain't like the green. Like, I ain't like the green, but I said, but he's the new Falcon, and he's wearing the green. Sam goes and talks to Isaiah Bradley, and then Isaiah Bradley, he's just like, I don't know how I feels about Captain America working with the president, but then he was just like, we're trying to mend fences, we're trying to like, do better for society. So he said that at least if I'm working with him, I can keep an eye on him because we all know Ross is Ross and Ross is going to do some dirtbag shit at some point. And then he said that, he wants to put the Avengers back together. And he was like, don't worry, I didn't forget about you, but we have an invitation to go to the White House tonight. And he said, I would only accept the invitation if you come with me, Bradley. So Bradley decides to go. He puts on the suit he got married in. And Bradley, Joaquin, and Sam, they're on their way to the White House. When they get to the White House, Bradley was saying that his cell phone wasn't working all day, which everybody just chalked it up to him being like some old out-of-touch buffoon who doesn't know how to use technology. And then when they were all there and the president showed up, this was supposed to be like the Easter egg bomb drop of the film where the president, Ross, was talking to all the other world leaders, and he said that in Japan, someone's discovered adamantium. Yes, adamantium, the adamantium, Wolverine adamantium, because they're trying to basically pump the X-Men into this universe, and they're low-key trying to bring in the X-Men. They're trying to do stuff to bring in the X-Men. So, like I said, now we have adamantium, and that's going to be like this whole big thing. He wants, obviously, the United States to have control of the adamantium, but he also wants to sign a peace treaty that works with all the other countries. And then while he was trying to do that peace treaty, all of a sudden Bradley just did some crazy shit. He pulled out a gun and he tried to kill the president. And they turned into this whole big thing. They chased Bradley down. They locked him up. And then, Sam was trying to talk. He was like, that wasn't Bradley. Something was wrong. Something was off. The president was just like, shut up, Wilson. He's like, you can't kill the president on live TV and get away with it. He was like, Bradley's going to be in prison. And, that's the end of the story. And then he brought in this other chick who apparently used to be a Black Widow. She's like 3 feet tall. And she was just like the biggest bitch like all time. Damn, I forgot her name. It was like May or something with an M. And then, so that something like that. But then, like, she was like the head of. I'm like, how do you go from being a Black Widow, like a super secret spy, to being like the president's right hand in charge of security? And then she was just like, oh, Bradley has every motivation to try to kill the president. I'm like, bitch, so do you. You're a former widow. Like, you're a former widow. So, but she was just doing this whole big thing. Sam ends up going to talk to Bradley, and then while he was talking to Bradley, this new widow girl, she was there too. And she was listening in on their phone conversation, and then she was like, I want to know everything that happens, like between them. So Sam, he ends up going back to talk to Joaquin, and he's just like, yo, damn what the president says. He said that I'm going to investigate this. Joaquin had found out along with Sam that when they were at the president's, when they were at the White House, it was Bradley who looked at his phone, and then like this weird flashing light appeared on his phone. But then they also noticed that flashing light also appeared on other people's phones that were in the building as well. And those people tried to take aim at the president too, so it turned into this whole big thing. So they were just like, oh, now we're dealing with mind control. They end up looking into the mind control. The Black Widow chick, she saw the same thing on her cameras, and then she actually went to the prison to go remove Bradley because she was like, we're compromised and you're not safe. And he was like, I ain't going in those box. You ain't never gonna put me in a box again. And then she was like, it's for your own safety. It's in your best interest. And he was like, woman, it's in your best interest to back up and not put me in no box. The person behind this mind control ended up sending goons to go kill Bradley because he was trying to trick Sam into stopping his investigation and going to check on Bradley at the prison. So that didn't work. Like Anthony Mackie was just like, well, fuck Bradley. He on his own. He got super soldier serum, and then he went to investigate. So he ends up investigating. They end up doing the investigation. They find the person responsible for all this mind control. Turns out that back in the day, during the Ed Norton Incredible Hulk film where he wrecked Harlem, because that's the only thing that anybody can say to identify what movie we're talking about, they said that the doctor who created the abomination, Ross basically took him into custody and had him in custody for years. I need to go back and watch this film and see if that really happened. And then some of the gamma radiation that they used to make the abomination, I guess it spilled on the guy's head or something, and it radiated his brain. So he ended up becoming like a little deformed, but he ended up becoming like super smart. And and this is crazy because this movie came out in like, 07, 08. He's been in custody of General Ross ever since 07, 08, which is crazy to me. Sam, he ran up on him, and the guy, he was like, why do you want to kill the general? And he said, why do you want to kill the president? And he was like, why does everybody think I want to kill Ross? He said that Ross basically like kept me in captivity and used me for information over and over and over again. He just kept constantly just coming to me, and he promised that one day he would let me out of prison, and he never let me out of prison. So now he's like, it's my time to get my revenge. So what he was also doing was, we later find out, because Sam rolled up on him, and he was like, yo, bro, he rolled up on the president, Ross, so he was like, yo, it was really good. And then Ross admitted, he said that basically what happened was, he was dying. Like Ross said that his heart was failing and he was dying. And he said that the doctor, he was the only person smart enough to come up with a cure to save him. Now, what the doctor did was, he did come up with the cure to save him, but he also was because he gave him these pills that were supposed to calm his heart down, but he was also pumping those pills full of gamma radiation. So every time General Ross took one of those pills, his body kept getting infused with gamma radiation, and he was doing this over the course of time. And he was doing this on purpose because the guy's not an idiot. So then the doctor ended up getting into the radios, using his mind control against some of the Japanese army and some of the U.S. Army soldiers, which started this huge airplane fight. And then Captain America and Falcon, they went out there to try to stop the fight. They went out there to try to keep the peace. During the fight, Falcon took a hit and he crashed into the ocean. And then Captain America, he saved the day. He saved the day. He stopped the Japanese and the American soldiers from fighting. But during that time, the professor got into the ear of Ross's headset and was talking to Ross and trying to get him to basically Hulk out. And it didn't work because once they said that Captain America saved everybody, he the president kind of calmed down, and then Ross went back to his business. While Joaquin was in the ICU getting surgically repaired, Bucky showed up to remind everybody that he's going to be in the Thunderbolts. And then that's when Sam went into the whole, I'm not the guy to be Captain America. It shouldn't have been me. And I'm just like, here we the whole 6-episode Falcon and Winter Soldier was this conversation. It was like 6 episodes of him saying, I can't be Captain America. Steve chose wrong. Like, I'm like, bro, I thought we were past this. The only thing that Sam said in that moment that actually made sense to me when he was like, I should have took the goddamn super soldier serum. But I said, yeah, like, I agree with you because you out here going through shit, going through a lot of stuff for America. Like, you should have took the serum. So then, with that, Bucky was just like, hey, look, I got Thunderbolt shit to do, so I'm gonna leave you to it. And then Bucky dipped. So then after that, they ended up running up on the doctor. They found the doctor. And then he was talking to Sam, and then he told Sam, he was like, I'm going to get you. Well, he basically, like, he presented himself to Sam on purpose because he wanted to be taken into custody. And then he was like, Ross is going to kill everybody. He was like, mark my words. And then when Ross was in front of the White House having a presidential conversation, the doctor ended up getting into the radio waves, ended up mind controlling a whole lot of people. And then during that mind control, he forced General Ross into anger. And then General Ross got pissed off, and he hulked up, and he turned into the Red Hulk. And, and for me, it was cool to see that. I mean, the storyline of how it happened, I was fine with. I didn't have an issue with the storyline. The only thing that really bothered me was I just wish I didn't see it in the trailer. Like, I wish they didn't tease it in the trailer. I wish they didn't show it at all in the trailer because that was something I would have liked to have been surprised at when I actually saw the goddamn film. But because it's like now, like, we all know what's coming. So the only real big surprise that was in the movie was the adamantium, which... like, that's something for, like, later. So Ross hulked out. He ended up, like, destroying Washington. Sam tried to fight him. One thing the Wakandans did to the Captain America suit, they did it to where he could release, like, kinetic energy. So the more you punch his wings, it absorbs all that kinetic energy, then it fires it back. He used that to basically, like, stop Ross and calm him down. And then Ross ended up calming down. He turned back into normal. They kept teasing his daughter, who she showed up while he was in prison. It was nice to see his daughter back again, being in the MCU. And then when Sam had a conversation with Ross, Ross basically told him, he said that, he gave up being president because he said that the world needs to go on despite, like his shortcomings. So he was like, I'm just going to be in prison. I'm going to take my medicine. My daughter's here. We can have a conversation. And he's like, damn it, Sam, you the man. And I apologize for everything that I tried to do to you. And then after that, they finally let Bradley out of prison. Him and the widow soldier, the two of them ended up going to a basketball game together. Joaquin, he was in the hospital. Sam went to him in the hospital, and Joaquin was like, ask the Wakandans to give me a new suit. And he was just like, bro, you just don't ask the Wakandans to give you a new suit. So the two of them are going to be a thing, and I like him. And then Sam even said, he was like, the president wanted me to bring the Avengers back, but he was like, if we do that, we have to work for the president. But he was just like, despite the fact that Ross is no longer the president, he said, honestly, the Avengers do need to come back. So the Avengers initiative, I'm trying to see, like, who's left. I better not put Wanda on this team. That was how the movie ended. And in the post-credit scene, Sam went to go talk to the professor. He was just like, oh, you failed. Ross is safe and the people are safe. And he was just like, well, what are you going to do, Captain America, when you have to save this world from other worlds? Because there are other worlds out there. Y'all still trying to do this multiverse shit. It's not going to work because DC already did it. Like, the Arrowverse coined the multiverse. No matter what anyone does, and the thing is with Marvel, the whole point of Marvel even doing the goddamn multiverse is just so they can bring in X-Men because they didn't have the rights to do it in the beginning. But I mean, it'll be fine. I mean, bring back Kang the Conqueror. It'll be fine. But like I said, you're not gonna beat Crisis on Infinite Earths because every time Marvel tries to do some multiverse shit, they never get the big name actors to be a part of it. And until you get the big name actors to play different versions of themselves, your multiverse is going to be trash. But I look forward to seeing how this is going to go. I'm surprised that the kid who was in Falcon and Winter Soldier, who was like Bradley's grandson, and he kept calling Sam Black Falcon. I'm surprised he wasn't even in the movie because everybody kept making a big deal out of him being like, on the Young Avengers team, and he wasn't even the goddamn film. That was how the movie ended. I did enjoy it, and thank you for tuning in. So, like I said, good action movie, like good superhero movie. It was, it was straight and to the point. It was cut and dry. I enjoyed it. I like Sam as Captain America. He stopped using, well, he said that in an interview because like his Captain America suit used to have like the neck thing that came around over his head. He said he ain't like that shit. So they basically gave him like a nano helmet. And then he changed, I like the fact that he changed up the suit. Like he had the white suit in the beginning and then he had the blue suit at the end. Wonder if there's a red one. I said, I look forward to seeing Joaquin progress and like where all this goes from here. there because we got the Thunderbolts coming up next, and you can't have. It's like there's no way Captain America doesn't have anything to do with that. So we'll see what happens as we roll on for some more of this Marvel goodness. Check out my other reviews because I got Daredevil Born Again up on my channel as well, and also we got WrestleMania weekend coming, so we're going to review the wrestling. But I just wanted to bring you guys my Captain America review. Like I said, I say the yay. Go check out Captain America when it streams on Disney Plus if you rent it or buy it or whatever the case may be. And we'll roll on until, well, the Thunderbolts is the next one, and then I guess we'll review that too. We'll review the Thunderbolts and keep talking about some of this Marvel goodness and everything else in between. So that was it, guys. So thanks for tuning in. So until next time for some more Marvel action. Look out for Captain America because he's going to save a bold new world. Spread your wings, and until next time, as always, guys, I'm out this.